everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. This is your 5th Reacher Season 3 episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. I love it when an episode kind of can feel like a finale in its own right. Like it kind of feels like we are now approaching the rising action. We're approaching those critical moments as we approach now the tail end of the season, which is, it's kind of sad to say, like, as much as I always say that, you know, Amazon does a very smart strategy to do the first 3 episodes in the first week on the launch day. I'm only a little saddened by the fact that, well, we did have to lose the 2 additional weeks of coverage, because again, for me, it's like it's only been 3 weeks since Reacher started, but we're already approaching, like, there's still only 3 more weeks before we wrap it all up. So I'm very sad to say the least about that. So it makes me a little curious to see, you know, how are they going to wrap. And again, like, you know, like I said, I never read the books before, so I don't even know how it's going to end. I know Reacher's not going to die, you know, like there's no way you can kill off Reacher. We already knew he's going to be in the Neely spinoff next, which I understand. I know like the books kind of go out of order, so like, but considering just how the show is, you know, it's impossible. Or maybe John Wick could do it too. But anyway, with this week's episode, I think this was the most, I guess, vulnerable that our heroes have felt. It felt more like, you know, there's a lot of, you know, things that are like, you know, kind of climbing uphill with them. And I'm a little surprised in certain directions, in a good way, you know. I'm very also happy the fact that they don't take, you know, they don't like take it too safe. They decide to, like, you know what? Let's go a little risque. Let's go like, you know, really attacking things that are like, you know, you think it's going to be protected to the finale. No, it's not. And I think that's the thing I love about Rachel, where like, you don't necessarily have to, like, you know, assume that, you know, oh, just because they're behind Reacher that everything's going to be fine. No, that's not even close at all. When it comes to the character, it's like, you know, he'll do his best, but there's no guarantee he's going to be able to always save the day and always be able to get out of it. And I feel like that was where this episode, where like it kind of tested how much Reacher could actually do in order to kind of, you know, protect himself and protect everyone else. Like sometimes you have to make those sort of, you know, sacrifices for the larger game. And I feel like this is an episode where, like, I feel like Reacher is finally... I'm trying to remember, like, you know, like season 1 and 2, where, like, I feel like he's always felt lost, but not, like, in the direct correlation of the story. It's always felt like... you know, somewhat, you know, different from the others. I guess that's the way to put it, to be honest with you. But I really did like... I feel like you got a little bit more emotional with Reacher. Like, still stoic, but still expressing it in his own way. And I feel like it's just another core to Alan Richardson portraying the character, adding a new layer to him, something that, you know, I feel like he's always had in him. It's just been very latent, that I think only got tapped into at the end of season 2 during that whole storyline. And now being here, where, like, you know, it's just him and his character, where, like, I don't think he cannot help but, like, hey, there's a lot of shitty people out there in the world. You know, you find a couple of good people, like, it's not that out of the reach to, like, focus on, like, you know, maybe making a real connection, maybe making a real kinship between them. But with all that being said, I really did enjoy this week's episode, and I'm very, very eager to see how next Thursday is going to come about with the next episode. But with all that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Reacher. So we begin right where we left off last time. So as we determined, Kirk has found out that the laptop is GPS tracked. He has tracked them to a nearby one of his facilities. He has a few of his bodyguards few of his men heading over there to take care of them, which are Agent Duffy and the older agent. Reacher's trying to, you know, get there as fast as he can, but however, them being in a dead zone, they don't really have much else coverage on there. So he reaches out to the young agent, letting him know, hey, look, if you can get in touch with Duffy before I do, let her know there's men on her trail. Call her. Make sure that she's good. Make sure she's ready to go for a fight. But he's trying to, like, zoom there as fast as he can. So Reacher eventually does arrive there a little bit later as the gunfire starts between them. As their search kind of turns up nothing. They do find some real, I think it's lubricant, Sullivan, I forgot what it's called. But that'll be important later. The three henchmen show up. They're ready to, they shoot. They start having a gunfight with them. So far, thankfully, no takers. Duffy manages to get the drop on 2 of them. However, before she can kill the third one, Reacher stops her, saying that if you kill the third one, they're going to be very confused. Like, how did Reacher survive, but not these other 3 guys? So it's going to kind of cause too many things. So they got to leave one alive. So Reacher's okay. Publicly announce where you're going, which you're going to go in the opposite direction. Just get away from me. That's really our only best bet here to kind of maintain the secrecy of everything going on. So she follows suit. The 2 of them escape. Reacher and the other guy attempt to follow them. However, Reacher purposely gets himself stuck in a third trap. So sadly, they lost the trail and they get away. Where do we go from there? Yeah, so eventually the 2 groups split up. Well, not really groups, but they split up. Duffy and the other agent kind of, posting in the town, kind of taking reflection on what just happened. He's kind of still questioning everything that's happening right now to Duffy's action, where Duffy just said, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna get her out of this. I'm gonna kill whoever's responsible, and I'll deal with the DEA later. That's kind of like, she's kind of become like Reacher. We're here. Like, it doesn't matter. The ends are gonna justify the means. I'll deal with it in the backline. And he's like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. Reacher and the other guy decide to return back to the house with the bodies, dumping them off. Paulie's finally getting his reaction to Reacher being the new number 2, meaning he doesn't give a shit. He lets them in. They start disposing the bodies. Reacher just doing it one by one. Apparently, this is going to be a little bit more insight about the organization. All these people here, we kind of got this gist of it from Paulie and from Duke from a few episodes ago, where they're all kind of outsiders in a way. Like, they never really, like, they tried to be in the system, like, try to have, like, some sort of real proper organization, a real purpose, mind you. But the problem is that when they try to do it, it didn't really work out in their favor. So that's why they kind of, they end up here where, like, they're all like-minded people, but then they're not friends. They're just, colleagues, in a very weird way. And, but tough comes to May. They out. Then we cut over back to the safe house where sadly we kind of get this build up for the last 4 episodes where the captive from Kirk's from the big guy's organization has been like teasing, like, oh, let me get this, let me get that. He's been constantly annoying the young agent for days and days and days, and eventually, look, you kept me here for almost a week now. I'm dirty. I'm hungry. I just want to smoke. That's it. So finally, the young agent's like, okay, fine. You'll get a smoke. One smoke, then that's it. Nothing more for the rest of this time here. However, sadly, that's what he exactly wanted, since he just drank a little bit of the straight up alcohol. So once the young agent decides to ignite a fire to start the smoke, he just immediately blows on it, starting like a little flamethrower, which knocks him out for a second, which allows him to basically beat him up. Like, not even beat him up, he kills him. Like, he freaking like bashes his face in with his foot, making sure he gets away, and he's just for dead. So that was like the real first loss for the team right now. But we don't really hear much about that for a little bit of time. As Reacher finishes up the cleanup, where are we from there? I forgot what comes first. I think he calls Duffy first just to get an update on things. She and the older agent briefly do split up for a moment, going to different tractions while they kind of regroup on their next move. Even though they did lose the laptop, she was able to kind of manually write down some things from it, so they're able to kind of keep going on that investigative front, even if they don't have like the full resources anymore. However, that's around the same time she arrives at the house, and she does find his body deceased, and also with the guy also in the wind. But Reacher doesn't hear about that just quite yet, as Reacher gets approached by Kirk, asking what the hell happened, like, was it feds? Like, that's what I'm hearing. And Reacher's like, I have no clue. Like, I didn't really get a good look at them. I fought them off, sure, but like, I did not really get a good look at them. So they could be agents. They could be because of the rival gang. I don't know. So they're kind of at a standstill with that one, to be honest with you. And I believe that's when Reacher goes back to the house. Yeah, so I know like Kirk gets reinforcements from like the higher ups. So they're waiting in the kitchen. So Reacher decides to go over there, enjoy a little cup of coffee. The other guy starts making like very sexist remarks on one of the housemaids, saying something in French. Reacher decides to kind of put him in his place, letting him know kind of what the loose translation was. He was about to beat her up before Reacher decides to like just kick him down and like slam him to the head. So I'm like, yeah, just don't be a dick. That's basically the lesson of the day, kids. Don't be a dick. I think that's when around the time where Reacher goes back to his room, Duffy gives him a call, letting him know that, yeah, the young agent's dead. He's in the wind. So now they got a very limited window to before he'll come back to the compound and let everyone know what the hell happened. Obviously, this will create a whole sort of, he's like, well, Reacher said you died. So why are you here? And then that's going to basically undermine everything for the case right now. So they're kind of in a pickle right now. I'm trying to remember if there's any other things Reacher had to do before this happened. I think they just wait till it gets darker, I want to say. Most likely. I'm really trying to stretch for the hills here, trying to remember, was there anything else I've had to mention before we cut? I don't believe so. I believe, yeah, they make their next move where Duffy decides to knock off the local power grid, which shuts off a part of Maine, including the compound at night, while Reacher also calls in the older agent to let him know, hey, look, we got a situation. We got to take care of this problem before it spreads further. So what you're going to do is meet me in this intersection. I'm going to meet you there somehow, and we're going to do a coup in order to be free. So once the outage happens, the entire house is on sort of lockdown. Paulie getting out of his little house, just figuring out what's going on. Reacher decides, look, if this could be an attack, this could be purposeful. Let me go into the front lines. Let me make sure that everyone's fine, everyone's safe. I will be back. So he heads off into his car to get away, while everyone else is like, okay, look, there's way too much shit been happening the last few days. So Kirk finally rules out, okay, we have a mole here. There's no other way. Everything that's happened in the last few days is like, there's got to be a mole here. So he orders his henchmen to look around the entire house, looking for any piece of evidence that might suggest that, something's been going on. But we'll cut back to that later as Reacher meets up with the older agent, and the plan is they're going to flip the car over, pretend there was a car accident that happened. He's going to get in there, act like he's a hurt civilian. Then Reacher's going to get the drop on him. So the two of them bond a little bit, freaking lifting the car over so that it can act that way without basically damaging it. It's a little nice bonding moment between them, a little bit. Like, this is one of those moments where it shows that Reacher is a kind person. He does have a heart at times, even though he's very stoic. It's just one of those moments I really do like about him. So I think from there I want to say, I know the goons are attacking are overthrowing the house. I don't think there's anything else of note going on that I can recall on top of my head. I did forget before Reacher head out. He and Kirk had a moment with Kirk's son about that. Kirk wants to stay upstairs just in case if it is an attack, but Kirk wants to keep him close by. Like, hey, look, no, just stay close to me. I'll protect you. The son's like, nah, I'll just stay in my room. I'll just follow what Reacher said. So I'm like, sucks to be you, Kirk. Sucks to be you. The coup does work. The former captain does stop in the track trying to help him out, and Reacher gets a drop on him, killing him. So that's perfectly resolved. They flip back over the car. All he has to do is dispose of the body while Reacher heads back to the compound acting like nothing happened. So they split up. I want to say Duffy also meets up with the certain law enforcement to pick up the body. She calls up the agent's dad, letting him know, hey, look, despite what happened, he was still a good man. He did his best. He was a good agent. So, we'll cut to the next part in a little bit. I know Reacher eventually goes back to the house. He acts like nothing happened. He goes into one of the master rooms where he sees the current heads of the compound kind of being together. Apparently, they did find a mole, and I forgot there was a shot where we were in Reacher's bedroom where he did take Duffy's badge at some point during the gunfight earlier. And so Reacher had on him, so Reacher assumed oh shit, maybe they found it. Now I gotta find my way out of here and finally fight Paulie. But not quite yet, not quite yet. Apparently, no. So apparently the housemaiden had a illegal cell phone on her, but we knew she already had contact with her family because that was just meant to keep in touch with her family members. And sadly, they confused it for like, oh, she worked for a government organization, so Paulie sadly killed her. Reacher doesn't get mad because, you know, she was an innocent. Like, oh, maybe she had valuable insight for us. Maybe if you had kept her alive. Paulie says, I don't give a shit. You know, I just punched her just to teach her a lesson. Not my fault she died. Reacher punches him in the gut, which does nothing at all. And then Paulie just like punches him one time and he goes down. And I'm just like, I don't think that's a feeling Reacher's ever felt in a while. Like, you know, Reacher's always had that confident, you know, gusto, but I'm just like, I don't think he's ever imagined himself actually getting punched. So I'm like, damn. Anyway, so he gets punched, he gets a broken nose, so he sadly got to feel that. But before we go even further, they have to dispose of the maid's body, which they do so. They're about to, and obviously Reacher gets hurt because, you know, she didn't do anything wrong. Sadly, she did get caught in the entire snafu, so he does feel partly responsible for it. The smaller henchman starts talking shit about her, and Reacher is like, okay, I can't kick Paulie's ass now, but I will kick this guy's ass. Okay, well, he just punches him one time in the stomach, and that's it. Just to, like, lay off a little steam. Reacher returns back to his room, where Kirk's son shows up to kind of, not console him, just, like, kind of, you know, tell him, like, you know, it's okay to feel afraid. You know, like, Paulie's a big dude. Like, you know, like, we're all scared. You know, you may be a big dude yourself, but he's bigger. So I'm like, it's perfectly okay to, like, be out of place. And Reacher's like, okay. Just classic Reacher. Reacher gets a call from Duffy where he kind of informs her what happens, and they're still set to go. Like, they gotta make their moves. Business as usual, but sadly, Reacher kind of has this epiphany inside of him where, considering how the last 24 hours have went for him, that there is a most likely chance that the girl that Duffy sent undercover must have already been dead, considering the fact that if this housemaid, who never even got a chance of explaining herself, only having a phone on her, imagine what they would have done to her, to the real one. So Reacher's starting to think, yeah, she did. She probably did die at some point. So he just sits on the bed, just kind of contemplates everything the last 24 hours have happened. Reacher gets called by Kirk. Apparently, everyone's been summoned over to the factory for a meeting with the big boss, which is going to be Quinn. Reacher's like, finally, you know, okay, this is it. This is the moment that whatever happens in these next couple hours will determine the fate of this entire mission. So Reacher calls up Duffy, letting her know that, like, yeah, this is it. I'm meeting the big boss. I'm going to go over there. So if you guys want to be outside as backup, you can, but, like, this is just the mission that's at play here. She does advise her, like, please just pull out. There's nothing you can do. Like, I think it's time to go because, you know, like, even if you kill Quinn, how are you going to take care of everyone else? You're going to be in a room all alone with, like, 10 other people and Paulie. Like, there is no way that you're going to get out of this. He's like, not to worry. I have a plan. Don't worry. I'll take care of this. So he's like, this is my only opportunity to see Quinn. That's basically the point. Like, he got away multiple times already. That this is the only chance he's going to have to get him. So nothing more for them to do. And that's when Reacher also tells her, like, hey, look, I think you should start getting comfortable with the idea that she's dead, that your informant is dead. There's no way, just how the last day went, there's no way she survived. They must have already taken care of her at some point. Maybe they just briefly kept her alive just to keep her out of sight. But definitely she's got to be gone by this point, which is something Duffy does not want to accept. So Reacher and Kirk head out to the factory, same with Paulie and the other individual. They pull inside where the other revelation is that the real thing that this organization is known for is not for drugs, it's because for guns. Because there's just so many things around this place. There's so many of the factors that Richard's already learned here in the last 48 hours that indicate, like, it couldn't have been drugs. That's why the dog didn't find anything during the truck episode, because it was all guns. They're not going to smell guns. So with that being said, like, yeah, no. So now they know what his plan is. They know what the motivation is. Now they got to go inside and see, can Reacher take care of Quinn once and for all here and now. So he pulls in. he sees everyone kind of, operating and like, getting the guns in order. And Reacher's expecting to meet up with Quinn any moment now, which is where this week's episode of the show ends. I enjoyed it. I really, really did. I feel like like I said, the epiphany of Reacher just kind of realizing he can't protect everyone. He cannot, always make sure everyone's going to be alive at the end of the day when they're like within his reach. I think that finally settled into place for him, especially with Housemaid's death. And I feel like, it does convey something because like Reacher's, again, like I said, a very strong stoic man. He does not show emotion that much. So even if we don't get to see him like convey it, like I could still feel it. And I feel like that takes to another step where like you don't have to see the emotion, but you feel in his like aura, which is like really hard to pull off. So kudos to again Alan Richardson for like being able to kind of convey that. And just for everything going on, like again, like it was great to see them like not always win the day. Like, they're still in business, everything's still in cahoots, but the problem is that they lost people. That innocent people did die for this. And now there's even more determination that like they gotta finish this. They have to finish this mission no matter what it takes. And I'm a little afraid how far that might go. Because again, Paul is a big dude. I don't know. Richard got his ass whooped there. Like, I mean, it was only one punch, but still. That was a lot of blood. But with all that being said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what did you think of this week's episode of Reacher. I would love to hear your thoughts down below as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of Reacher. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two beside our Reacher episode reviews. Normally we would be doing Suits LA episode reviews each and every Sunday nights after brand new episodes on NBC. We are also doing rookie episode reviews each and every Tuesday nights after brand new episodes on ABC, or we're doing Madlock episode reviews each and every Thursday nights after brand new episodes on CBS. But if you only care about Reacher, your luck will be back next week with another brand new episode review, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like, favorite, share if you want to, ring that bell, and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.